Hello! So tonight I am doing a tutorial on how to make sock monkeys. This is a special request from my cousin Julia. So I made one and had it on my Instagram, and she was asking how to make it. I said it's very easy. I will show you how. So I'm going to show you. Okay, so what you will need is 2 socks, needles, and pins, scissors, thread, possibly a disappearing ink pen if you feel like you need it, stuffing. Okay, so you need 2 socks, and you're gonna lay them out differently. One you're gonna lay with the heel going across and the toes flat. The other you're gonna lay it out so the heel is flat this way. So this one is going to be your body, and we're gonna cut right down the center, and this is gonna be his 2 legs. The second sock, we're gonna cut the mouth, the ears, the arm, and the tail out of it. So I like to do 2 socks. Like you can see this one here, I used 2 different socks. You can also use the same socks. Like this one I used very similar color socks. Just however you would like to do it. Okay, so the first step is to cut straight down through the center of this one, and this is going to be its legs. And don't cut too far up into the heel. Let's stop maybe like 2 inches below. There are its 2 legs. For the next sock, this one's a little bit trickier, so if you want to use an invisible ink pen, this is when you would use it. So this one we're cutting most of the pieces out of. We're gonna cut the mouth out of the heel. So I'm going to draw, this pen disappears with water, so don't be scared of it. I'm just gonna draw the shape around the heel, like this. That will make the mouth. And then beside that, we are gonna cut out 2 ears. Actually 4, because this will be on a fold. And then we also are gonna cut out a tail. So we're gonna make a long, skinny tail. Then its arms are gonna get cut out of this part. So you can use a marker for this or not, but basically we're just gonna cut this in 2, right in through the center, and we'll cut it off at the top. So there you go. So let's do it. So you can cut your arms off like this. Tail. Now I actually don't want the ears to be on the fold, so let's just cut the fold out. So there you have all your pieces. 1 set of ear, 2 set, the mouth, the tail, the 2 arms, and the body. So what you're gonna do next is you're gonna be stitching this. So I prefer to use a sewing machine. If you wanna do it by hand, if you're more comfortable with that, that's totally fine as well. So you're gonna turn this inside out. And you're going to stitch the legs together. So you're gonna place them back together and pin them the whole way through. Match the center, I guess we'll call that the crotch seam. Match that monkey crotch seam together, and then back through the other leg. So it looks like this. So when you're sewing, you want to continue and sew through the legs. I like to make it a nice little round shape. This one I did round. This one I was more straight, so you can kind of see. So yeah, so you're gonna do that and you're gonna stitch it. And I used another sock to show you guys how. So this one is already stitched, and then you flip it back inside out. To know when stitching the legs, you don't want to you need to let open an area to stuff it. You don't want to do it in this center crotch seam at all, because this is kind of weak here, and the knit, because you cut it, it's going to unravel. So I like to stitch that continuously through, and then I let a leg opening, like a space around 2 inches. So I will sew the whole way around here, around back stitch, and let like 2-inch opening, and then continue around. And that's where I will push all the stuffing through to the top of the sock. So you're gonna do the same with the arms. You're gonna flip it inside out, stitch, leave the top arm opening so you can stuff it. So do both the arms. The mouth you're gonna let alone, and the ears you're going to, these are always a little bit tricky, but you can work it out. They don't need to be perfect. You wanna stitch around the U and leave this part open. So we're gonna stuff these a tiny bit and attach them to the head. So you're both ears, and then same with the tail, like the arms, you wanna stitch everything but the top here and around. So now we're just gonna start stuffing. So you flip the sock inside out and you start stuffing it. Try to make it nice and filled, and you just kind of keep working it in. Now you stuff the tail and the 2 arms. You can just prepare a little ball of stuffing for the mouth, and the tiny bit of stuffing for the ears. So first thing you're gonna do after everything is stuffed is you're gonna close up the leg on the body. So I know you're honestly not gonna be able to see my needle and thread, but I'll try to show you. So try to roll in the sock edges so you don't get any fraying, and just pin the holes shut a little bit to make it a little easier for yourself. And then I use double thread, just because of the wear and tear, and then the sock knit's usually a little bit looser, so that always makes the seams a little bit safer. So then you just go in, and I just whip stitch, hide the knot, so I just push the knot back in, and then you're just gonna whip stitch it closed. And depending on what type of sock you use, it usually gets pretty hidden. If you use a thinner sock, you might need to be a little bit more careful. But just stitch up the hole in the leg And then we're going to attach the arms. Okay, we just finished his leg. Now I'm gonna quick run through placement of where you add everything. So these are his two arms. I like to, sometimes the tail and the arms turn out pretty much the same, like these did. I try to stuff the tail less just so they're not as wide as the arms. So clearly this guy has like a really long body. So I'm gonna show you, this guy I made his head really long, which I kind of like, he's funny looking. And then this one was kind of more, I don't know, standard monkey placement. So I think I'm gonna continue and do this long one again, but let's just run through it. So you're gonna place the arms somewhere around here, in the center-ish, around this green I would think would look good. And then his mouth will go here. You could make his head like really little, which could be kind of funny, with his ears. But I kind of liked it like long. I thought it was kind of funny like that. So I'm gonna do his mouth here and his arms kind of like down here. So just work on that. Okay, so to sew on the arms, very easy. You just kind of poke the inside of the tube in. I like to just stabilize it. So again, using double thread, I would just do a quick kind of like stabilizing, maybe go through the center and then go back through across the other side. And don't pull it tight, just pull it loose so you kind of have all the ends worked in. Then you place it where you want to place it, and then just stitch around and catching the base of the sock, and I just whip stitch it around. So catching the arm, let's see if you can see this. So catching the arm and the sock in with your stitch and then pull it tight. And just continue the whole way around, and for the other arm. Okay, so I have my arms and my tail on, and next up we're gonna do the mouth. I like to do it before the ears because of placement. So for the mouth, I am gonna fold the edge down under, and for the mouth you wanna make sure that the two corners are even. You don't want it like off center. So I like to start with it unstuffed, and we're just gonna secure it with some pins, making sure it's even. And you wanna leave some extra because that's where you're going to be stuffing it. So I just pin it the whole way across. And then just like we left a little opening, I'm gonna continue to stitch the whole way around and just leave a tiny little opening down here. And then I'm gonna stuff it, and then I will finish the whip stitch it shut after it's stuffed. So now we have the mouth done, the arms done, and the tail done. So next are the ears. You do them the same as the arms. You kind of tuck the edges in, and then kind of make like a little pita. And then you place them where you want on the head, and then you just whip stitch around. And then you're actually done. So yeah, so let's get these other ears on.